Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered how many women are bisexual or bi-curious? You're going to love this podcast. I got this question, which I'm going to put up right here through the magic of editing, and I really like this question. The first thing I'll say to this question is, look, there are no dumb questions. I love any and all questions. I'll always do my best to not sort of judge or belittle a question or say like, that's a stupid question. I'm not really the type of person to do that. I have done that, I'll be honest, once or twice in the past, quite a long time ago. But yeah, generally speaking, look, it's any question that you ask, I'm going to love, I'm going to answer. So let's answer the first part of the question. Can you turn any girl bisexual? The first thing I'll say here is obviously only if they want to. In the same way that you can't kind of make a gay guy become straight if he's, 100% gay. You can't make a straight guy become gay if he's not. And the same thing with women. Like there are a lot of women out there who are 100% straight and will 100% identify as like, look, I have no interest in women. I'm not ever going to fool around. Like the same way that if you're a straight male, you're going to be like, I'm not fucking around with a guy. Like I'm not even going to consider that. Like why would I consider that? There are a lot of women like that. I obviously am a big libertarian. A big part of my principles are not making anyone do something that they don't want to do. It's a big part of this channel. You know that we preach ethics, we preach honesty, we preach, being kind to other people and all of that kind of stuff. So I feel like I'll add that caveat, but I don't think you were asking that question in that way. Like your question doesn't strike me as you saying like, can I convert a girl? I get what you were trying to say. You're basically trying to say like, are there women that are sort of open to this, but maybe they don't know it? In which case, yes, because I don't have full context here. I'm not sure if you're already in a relationship or if you're saying like, what if I meet a girl who says she's straight? Do you think she'd still want to try? So let's assume that you're single. So anyone listening, if you're single, the easiest thing to do is obviously going to be screen for bisexual girls. Like literally say, if this is something you want to pursue, like let's say you want to do what my girlfriend Imogen and I do together, which is we date women together, we sleep with them, we have threesomes and all of that good stuff. If that's something that you want to try yourself, I would obviously say go out and find a girl that wants to try that with you. I wouldn't just be getting into a random relationship, whether that's a casual relationship or a serious one. I wouldn't be getting into a random relationship and going, hopefully I can convert her and help her try this thing that I don't even know if she wants. No, from the very outset, if this is something that's important to you, something that you want to try, that you think would be fun, go out and find the people that want to try it with you. A big part of my, like I said, principles and philosophy, but a big part of this channel, and maybe where we differ from some, other people out there, is my content isn't here to help you like get people to do stuff that they don't want to do. In other words, my channel here isn't here to get you to like win the girl or like, how do I make her like me? Or, what is the right thing that I can say to make her like me? Or what are the right things to say to people to make them like me? No, that's not really what this channel is. Obviously, we help with self-improvement. We help with confidence. Like we will help you with your speaking abilities. But my philosophy over the last 6 years, my philosophy has become find the people that want the same thing as you and spend time with those people. And the people that don't want the same thing as you, hey, that's absolutely amazing. That's beautiful. We love that they know what they want and they want something different from us. That's awesome. We wish them well. We say, hey, I hope you go out and find that thing. I'm going to be over here looking for my thing. And we can be two separate people on two separate pathways. Isn't that beautiful? I want to make that really clear. And I feel like I'm underlining this a lot because I feel like I do get a lot of these sort of questions from time to time, right? Where someone's like, hey, this girl doesn't necessarily want to do threesomes. What can I say to sort of make her want to do it? And it's like, you kind of can't. Like if someone doesn't want to do something, we're not going to control them. And I don't think this question was coming from that place, but I just really want to make that clear. Like if someone doesn't want to do something, respect the shit out of that. Be like, hey, that's fucking awesome. I'll go find someone that does want to do this, or I'll be okay with not doing this. That's an option too. It's all at the end of the day up to you doing whatever you want to do. So screening for bisexual girls or girls that are curious and willing to try something, if this is something you want to pursue, I would just screen for that. I would ask them, literally ask them. You can ask them over Tinder. You can ask them if you talk to them, out on the street or whatever. You can ask them over text. You can ask them on the first date if you want to. But I would ask relatively early on if this is something that's important to you. And if it's not something that's super important, but you're just curious, then yeah, date whoever you want. And some of them might be bisexual, some of them might not be. But yeah, there are sort of, and I'll go into this in a second, there are lots of women that are bi-curious, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what you can ask women, and this is the way that I've always phrased it, is rather than saying, are you bisexual or are you bi-curious? which is more like a sexuality identity label, what you guys and girls are going to find is sexuality is a weird thing where the labels can change over time, especially if we're talking about women, right? For some of you guys, like for me in particular, I've always been straight. I will always be straight. That's not really going to change. But for a lot of people, particularly a lot of women, the label kind of changes over time. And so she might start out by saying, yeah, I'm pretty straight. And then she gets drunk at a party one time and she goes, you know what, maybe I will fool around with my friend and we'll play with each other's tits and we'll go down on each other, we'll make out, it'll be a bit of fun. And so for a lot of women, the label almost doesn't matter. So I for the longest time when I was first seeking out threesomes and all of this kind of stuff, I would just literally say, are you bisexual or bi-curious? And I had a lot of women that were like, no, I'm not. But I would make out with a woman with you. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? But you're not bi-curious, but you'd make out with a woman with me. Would you have sex with a woman with me, like a threesome? And they were like, yeah, I'd be down for that. And I was like, but you just said you're not bisexual or bi-curious. And she's like, yeah, I'm not. And so I've just had that so many times. And if you hang around to the end of this video, I'm going to tell you a really funny story about that. You're going to want to hear that story. But yeah, I've just had so many women where it's like they don't identify as bisexual or bi-curious, but they are willing to have a threesome. And they have a threesome and they fucking love it. They enjoy it and they go, wow, like this was fun. Women are so hot. I love this, but I'm still straight. So again, I'll tell you a funny story about that at the end of this, but that's why I don't phrase it like that. What I do instead say is I say, have you ever fooled around with another girl or thought about it? That seems to me, and I've played around with a lot of different ways of phrasing it, that seems to get at the heart of what I'm actually trying to ask with women, which is essentially, would you like to fool around with another girl with me? Would you like to have a threesome? You can even just say that if you want to. You can just say like, would you like to try a threesome with me and another girl? Lots of women will say yes to that. But I like this phrasing of like, have you ever fooled around with another girl or thought about it? Because lots of women say, well, you know what? I never have, but yeah, I'll be honest, I have thought about it. And then she starts thinking about it. And you go, okay, well, is that something you want to think more about? Is that something you want to try? Like, are you open to that? Lots of women will then sit there and go, you know what? Maybe, yeah, I think I'd be down. Yeah, that sounds kind of fun now that I think about it. And it's just that they haven't allowed themselves the space to ever actually sit there and think about it properly. It's always just been like a thought in the back of their mind of like, oh, maybe I could try that, but they don't spend much time on it, like think about it, because it just, why would they think about that? But if you say to them, like I said, are you bisexual or are you bi-curious? The answer will just come out as like, no, I'm not. And then if you were to say, okay, well, sit there and think about it for a little bit. Would you ever try something? So many women have said, yeah, I guess maybe I would try something. Yeah, okay. So that's why I phrase it like that. Again, I'll make it clear only if she actually wants to try this. Like, you can't make someone try something they don't want to try, obviously. I think you're just going to have a bad time. She's going to have a bad time, blah, blah, blah. So ask that question. If she responds to that question of like, have you ever fooled around with another girl or thought about it? If she responds with like, God, no, like, fuck no, I don't want to do that, and you guys kind of talk about it a little bit and it's very clear that she has no interest in it, then that's your answer. Obviously respect the boundaries, say like, hey, that's cool. You know, you can either go and find someone else to try this with, as long as you're clear about that and, you know, you're in a sort of a casual or an open relationship, or you can just sort of go, all right, okay, fine. I'm with this girl. I like her a lot. We have a great time. I love her. Like, I guess I just won't have threesomes with her. So I've obviously, like I said, met a lot of women that have said yes, or I would try it. But I've also met a lot of women that it's just a hard fucking no. And I will like sort of ask about it because I'm very interested in like human sexuality. And I'll say like, well, look, have you ever thought about it? And they go, I've thought about it once or twice, but it's not that it disgusts me, but it's just like a hard no for me. It's just like, it's not like I couldn't see myself enjoying it. And I think the best way I ever had it said to me was by a Vietnamese girl, because generally speaking, Asian girls, particularly if they were born and raised in their home country, tend to be a lot less open to bisexuality. I think it's more a common thing in the West and places like that. But anyway, the best way I ever had it said to me was a Vietnamese girl who said, you know, think about it like this, Andy, would you ever fool around with a guy? And I was like, no. And she's like, that's basically how I feel with women. And I was like, cool, like I understand that. So for a lot of women, the answer will be yes, like I'm willing to try that. Or I'd love to try that. For a lot of women, the answer will be like a fuck no. If she's on the fence, you guys can just kind of talk about it. Make sure, I would say make sure if you're ever going to do this, Don't put pressure on someone if they're kind of on the fence. I understand that it might be something that you really want, and you can be excited about that, and you can be like, look, babe, like this is super exciting to me. Like I'd love to try this, but give her the space to come to the decision on her own. What isn't fun, and I've been in a couple of these situations, and I've had clients who have, what isn't fun is being in a threesome, like watching two girls together, when one of them sort of isn't 100% happy to be there. Not that she's not happy, but like excited to be there. If they're both kind of, or if one of them's kind of just on the fence and she's like, yeah, I'm kind of just doing this because I know my boyfriend, or I know this guy that I'm seeing really wants me to do this, that just isn't fun. Like a big part, especially for me, of sexuality and enjoying things is knowing that everybody who's there is having fun and that it's benefiting them, and that after this experience, they will be somewhat better off. They'll be glad that they did this. And if I can't trust that, like if I can't trust that everybody in that room is having fun, I can't really let go and be present and be in the moment and actually enjoy it, because there's senses of like guilt. There's a sense of like, fuck, man, like, am I just getting what I want and maybe this person isn't getting what they want? Which is why obviously on this channel we talk about like honesty and making sure everyone's happy and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I obviously have a threesome guide, which is on my website. You can just go onto my website and find that. And I have like a full-on in-depth guide with all of this sort of stuff that we're talking about. But one of the points that I said in that is like, look, not every single woman is bisexual. Not every single woman is bi-curious or even willing to try anything. Like some women just don't. And so for those women, like I said, just, like the basic stuff that we talk about all the time, just like don't push people to do stuff they don't want to do. I don't get the sense from your question that, you would be doing that. I think you're more asking, and maybe it's slightly clumsily phrased, which is okay, but I think what you're asking is essentially like, look, how many girls are bisexual? Are there any girls out there who are like not bisexual, but if they tried something, they would become bisexual? Yes. But those women, you have to understand, already want to try it. Like maybe they've never thought about it, but you say to them, have you ever thought about a girl? Have you ever thought about fooling around with a girl? Or would you like to try it? Like some of those girls will say like, yeah, I guess I'll try it. They try it. Maybe they're a little nervous. They're a little hesitant. That's okay. Just go slow. Do all the stuff that I said in my threesome guide. Again, that's on my website. You go quite slow. She tries it. And afterwards she goes, holy shit, that was like really fun. I think I want to do that more. So yes, there are plenty of those women. I've met quite a few of them. Quite a few of the women that Imogen and I have had threesomes with came to us specifically because they had thought about doing this, but they weren't sure if they would like it. And some of them have even, or all of them have, because we asked these questions beforehand, they've phrased it to us exactly like that. They're like, look, I'm kind of nervous that we try this thing and I don't like it. And I'd worry about wasting your time or hurting your feelings. And we're like, look, it's cool. Like we can just go slow, like no hard feelings. Like if anything, we'd be glad if you tried it with Imogen and myself, obviously, and you decided that you were 100% straight after that. Like if that experience helped you solidify that you're straight, I mean, we'd be fucking happy with that. We would have just helped you figure out part of your, maybe not identity, but part of your preferences. We would have like helped you with that. That would have been amazing. Like we would love that. And so we've had plenty of those girls we've had, I think 2 girls that have tried stuff with us and gone, yeah, I don't think I want to do any more of that stuff. Like, I don't think I want to do girl stuff. Cool, great. But most of the experiences we've had, I'll say like 98% of them, yeah, it's been a girl who's sort of tried it, gone, holy shit, I love this. But lots of them do come to us saying, look, I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy this. I think I will. Would you guys be willing to like be very patient with me and teach me and show me? And with in those cases, you just go really slow. Like you start with just kissing, you start with just some touching, you just go really, really, really slow and don't get them to do anything. I mean, they could do it if they want to, but like you don't push them to do something that maybe would be intimidating to them. Like going down on another woman is often very intimidating for a girl with no experience because she's in her head thinking like, fuck, I have to do a good job. What if I don't know how to do this? I've never done this before. Like, what if she says that I'm hurting her? What if I accidentally like bite her clit or something? Like girls have a lot of women have a lot of insecurity when it comes to going down. They're very intimidated by it. So you can just start with the stuff that's a little bit easier than that. If you meet a girl who says, I would like to try this stuff, but like, I don't know how I will be with women. Like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that. You could do even less than that. Like you could say, okay, what if me and this other girl have sex and you just kind of watch? and then you're kind of in the room with another woman, but you're not doing anything. And so you can kind of just explore that. But yeah, to the answer to your second part of your question, which was, are most girls bisexual and they don't know it? Look, I can't speak for all women, obviously, and it's going to vary quite a lot between countries. Like if we go to Saudi Arabia, how many women are bisexual? Significantly less than if we go to Australia or the United States. And even within the US, if we go to the southern states, how many people are bisexual compared to, I don't know, like Los Angeles or San Francisco or Portland or somewhere like that? Like, generally speaking, I think we would all agree that different countries are going to have different rates. So I can't speak to every woman, but I personally have found that in the West, most girls, I don't have a percentage for you because I haven't gone out and done a study, but most women are open to trying something. That doesn't mean that they're full on bisexual. That doesn't mean that they're like just thinking about pussy all the time. In fact, and maybe I'll do a separate video on this, I've talked about this several times. So have some of the girls that we've had on the podcast. Most women don't walk around thinking about sex anyway. And even the most bisexual girls that I've ever met, like my girlfriend is one of them, they generally speaking don't walk around looking at women getting turned on by them. It's a interesting part of female sexuality is that they don't generally speaking, they don't generally walk around thinking about sex. They're not generally horny. Like they want sexual stuff to happen. They read erotic literature and all of that. Plenty of them look at porn, or some of them look at porn, but they're not walking around looking at other women going like, oh man, she's so hot, I want to fuck her. Generally speaking, I don't think I've ever met a woman who said that. They all say exactly the same thing, which is, no, like, I think women are pretty. I think they're beautiful. I admire them. I think they can be sexy, but it's not until I get into the bedroom or start kissing them that I start getting turned on. Whereas guys, we can literally look at a hot woman on the street and just be like, holy shit, like, I want her. So, but yeah, generally speaking, with all this stuff, just sort of have a conversation with your partner about this stuff, and either she will be up for it and she'll want to try some of this stuff, or she'll be hardcore against it, and there's your answer. If you're single or in an open relationship, it's easier to just find women that are bisexual or willing to try this stuff. And again, you just phrase it like I said. Have you ever fooled around with another girl or thought about it? You can phrase it however you want, but that's what I've found works quite nicely for me. If you want the kind of relationship that Imogen and I have, where we date women together, we sleep with them together in threesomes, and, we try and see them for as long as they'll see us. We've got a girl right now that we've been dating for about 9 months. If that's the kind of thing that you want, I would screen for that. Like, don't just think that you're going to like convert some girl who, 6 months into the relationship. I mean, 6 months is not a relationship, is it? Fine, call it what you want. But 6 months of seeing each other, you're probably not going to at that point be like, hey, like, do you want to have threesomes? I mean, you can, but there's a 50% chance or a 30% chance or whatever that she goes like, no, I'm not into that. Probably 50% chance. I think most people, yeah, anyway, the point is, I do that. I would do that shit early. If you do it early, like as soon as you meet the person or within the first, I don't know, couple of weeks of dating them casually, you get your answer pretty quickly. You get your answer right away, and then you're sort of not leaving it until 6 months in and going, hey, are you up for this? No, I'm not. Oh, fuck. So ask early. Obviously, be very honest and upfront. If you want to screen for this, you can just put it in your Tinder bio if you want to, or you can say it in your first message. You can say it on the first date. Do it whenever you want. But again, I wouldn't be waiting until you've slept together like 5 or 10 times before you go, hey, are you open to having a threesome with me and another girl? And then she goes, no. And then you go, oh, fuck. Okay, let's talk about the funny story. We'll end on the funny story. So there was this girl that Imogen and I dated. It was the second or third girl that we ever had a threesome with. And we ended up dating her for about 6 months, maybe a little longer than that. And she 100% identified as straight, like 100% straight. While also making out with Imogen, going down on Imogen, like cuddling Imogen after sex, like being very affectionate with her, like licking her pussy, having Imogen lick her pussy, using toys, all of that kind of stuff. But yet she still identified as 100% straight. And we had so many conversations about it, and Imogen found it really cute as well. Imogen used to giggle about it sometimes. We had so many conversations where I was like, look, can you just explain to me? I'm not trying to change your mind, like, but I'm trying to understand because I'm genuinely curious. How can you be straight if you're like into Imogen? And she was like, well, I don't know, but I'm straight. And I was like, but do you get turned on by Imogen? And she's like, yes. And I was like, but do you get turned on by other women? And she's like, some of them. And I was like, do you want to have sex with other women? And she's like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I would. And it got to the point where there was this one moment that I wish I'd videoed. I mean, I would never video this but it would have been funny if you guys could watch this moment. So she was going down on Imogen, like literally licking Imogen's pussy. And I said to her, and she was like moaning and getting herself off while literally going down on another woman. And I said to her, are you enjoying this? And she puts her head up for half a second and goes, oh my God, this is so hot. And then she goes back down. And then I gently put my hand under her chin and lift her chin back up. So she's looking up at Imogen and I said, are you still straight? And she goes, yes, what are you talking about? I told you I'm straight. And then goes straight back down, licking a woman's pussy and getting off on it. It was like the funniest thing ever. But the reason that I'm telling this story is that's not as weird or rare as you might think. There are a lot of women that say, no, I'm straight. And then they'll do all of that. That's why I said I don't tend to phrase it like, are you bisexual? Because lots of women will be like, fuck no. But I would go down on a woman and have sex with her and cuddle with her and be naked with her and get turned on by her body, but I'm straight. And so I don't tend to, like I say, ask it like that. So I say, have you ever fooled around with another woman? Or would you like to try? Any of those, or have you thought about it? Like any of those kind of phrasings are pretty decent. As I said, if you want my help with this, I have a threesome guide on my website. If you guys and girls have any more questions like this, I really love these kind of questions, particularly the ones that are about like human sexuality and psychology. Obviously, I don't have all the answers, but I have asked a lot, and this is what I recommend all of you do. I've asked pretty much every single woman that I've ever slept with all of these kind of questions, like questions about sexuality. I've asked plenty of my coaching clients, so like males as well. I've worked with a few women as well, but mostly men. I asked my friends these questions. I've goddamn even asked my mother for like questions about sexuality and stuff like that. Like, you know, because they're getting old. I've said like, what's it like? Do you still have a sex life in your 60s? Like, how do you keep up any of that stuff? And I've gotten some interesting answers. So it's what I recommend you guys and girls do if you want some of these answers. Like a lot of coaches, a lot of people that give advice tend to just kind of make shit up and guess and like mind read, and they theorize. Like, you know, for instance, the red pill, any of you that are familiar with that movement. And I love the red pill. They helped me a hell of a lot, but a lot of them do tend to sit there and sort of theorize and like, well, women are like this because blah, 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 blah. And it's like, have you ever actually asked any woman ever? Probably not. Otherwise, you sort of wouldn't be saying it like that. You would say, look, I asked 100 women and here's the different answers that they got. So that's probably a little bit more accurate. So I generally speaking with these kind of questions, just ask women, and any women listening, just ask the guys. Like people give pretty interesting answers. Obviously, don't take one answer as the gospel truth. So you probably want to ask, I don't know, like 20, 30, 40 people. You don't even have to be dating them. Just ask friends of the opposite gender. But yeah, ask them some of these questions. So your question here, you know, can you turn a girl bi, or are most girls bi and they don't know about it? I've obviously given you as much information as I can, and I've answered the question based on my own experience. But you know, it'd be fun if you just, all the girls that you date from now on, hell, even girls that you're friends with, even girls that you just, you know, talk to or get to know, ask them these kind of questions. Like, are you bisexual? Like, how does your sexuality work? How do your friends' sexualities work as well? Like if you just have like 2 or 3 women that you ask, you can say to them, can you ask all of your female friends how their sexuality works? Like, I'm genuinely curious about this shit. Like, I have no idea. Some random guy wearing some stupid pink Kirby beanie on the internet on some fucking random YouTube channel gave me a bit of advice, but I want to hear it from you. Like, I want to ask a few women and see what you girls think. So tell me. So yeah, I'm a big fan of asking these questions. I think you just get better information. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I was incredibly fucking tired. You can probably tell because I repeated myself 100 times and I had to look down at my phone for the notes 1,000 times. I am still sick as hell. Really, really, really tired. But I hope this helped. I hope this helped a little bit. If you want any more help with this, obviously I have coaching. Link is in the description below. I do one-off coaching calls for $200, and I also have a hardcore coaching program if you want to get in there and absolutely change your life and put you on that fast track to success. As always, ladies and gentlemen, go out there and crush those goals.